Bear with, got a couple stories of my own, don't know how to green text so bear with me. These stories all happened at my grandma's house, which my family and I know is haunted. We've all experienced some weird ass shit there. The layout is weird too. You walk into the house and you're on the second floor, which consists of the living room, dining room and kitchen. Next to the kitchen is a patio with stairs leading up to the bedrooms, and stairs going down to a garden, a place where we butcher animals, and another bedroom, bathroom. Most of these stories center around my dad, and the spooky shit that's been happening to him since childhood. For starters, late at night, when looking downstairs towards the garden, he would often see a woman looking back up at him, not scary or anything, but unnerving for sure. He slept in the downstairs room, and would often deal with what he describes as el muerto sentado encima ti, or the dead sitting on you. Pretty much recurring sleep paralysis of said woman sitting on his chest and not letting him up. That's one of the ghosts/entities that we've experienced in the next entity is more sinister, and is the main cause of many haunts in the house. I even have some experience with it. The best way I can describe this thing is by explaining a dream my dad had when he was in his teens. He was asleep in his room, and dreamt that he was outside, next to the lemon tree planted in the garden, and a white silhouette was speaking to him. It told him, "There's treasure buried under here, but he won't let us get to it," and as it finished its sentence it pointed upwards and a huge crow descended onto my dad. He woke up in his underwear, dragged out of his room next to the lemon tree at 3 a.m. This thing likes to fuck with people in mean ways. Our family had a friend who came over for drinks one night, and after a few hours he had to take a shit. The upstairs bathroom was being renovated at the time, so he had to go downstairs, but was skeptical as the house has a reputation for its stories. He goes down anyways, and my family keeps drinking. A few moments later, they hear him scream like a madman from downstairs. They all rush down and force open the bathroom door to check on him, and he's sitting on the toilet, pants down, shaking, pale as a ghost. My uncles and dad try calming him down, but he gets up, grabs his shit and leaves without saying a word. Since then, he hasn't come to visit and refuses to say what he saw down there. This thing slams doors, turns the crosses upside down, throws plates, turns on appliances even if they're unplugged, etc. The only person it doesn't fuck with much is my grandma, and she says cursing at spirits wards them off, so oftentimes when spooky shit happens she goes off on it and activity ceases. My dad also wasn't a very good person, and would often get into fights getting drunk and enjoyed hurting people. He thinks it might be part of the reason why this thing stuck to him and bothered him the most out of all my uncles and aunties. At one point, a black dog would follow him around whenever he left the house, got out of school, went to a party, etc. He got pissed at the dog one day coming back from school and tried throwing rocks at it, but he says that they would just pass through it like it wasn't there. Eventually, after multiple scares with this thing, my grandma got a priest to come bless the house. He shows up, starts passing that smoking lantern thingy all over the house, but once he gets downstairs he visibly got uneasy. He said to let him pray in my dad's bedroom alone for a while. After a half hour or so he comes back upstairs and says he's done blessing the house, but that whatever is in the house has strong negative emotions and a blessing won't be enough to make it leave. He asks if anyone knows of some reason it might be hanging around, and my dad brings up his dream. The priest tells him that he has to dig under the lemon tree, alone, as this thing has chosen him because of his sinful ways and it's his responsibility to see it through. To this day, my dad hasn't dug it up because he's scared that whatever that thing is, it wants to trick him into something. To this day, weird shit will happen. My cousins who grew up in my grandma's house on account of my aunt living there with them have plenty of stories too. One of the worst scares happened to my cousin as he was coming home from a party. It was late at night, and it began storming a couple hours prior. My aunt was sleeping upstairs with his siblings when he got home, but he didn't have keys, so he called out to her to drop some from the balcony. My aunt does so, and goes back into the room to sleep and avoid getting soaked. The entrance to the house is a metal double door with mosaic glass, which opens into a small hallway that leads into the living room. The hallway has this arch that lets you look into the living room. It's hard to explain, but just imagine a cutout hole in the wall that gives you a line of sight into the living room as you go in. As he goes in, he tries the light but it doesn't work. Power outages are common during storms, and my family often unplugs electric appliances because lightning strikes can burn out light bulbs or start fires if anything is turned on. He walks into the living room, but he gets a chill up his spine and feels like someone is standing in the hallway, looking at him through the gap in the wall. He turns around, but it's pitch black so he can't see. A couple moments of squinting later, as cliché as it sounds, a lightning strike illuminates the hallway enough for him to see a goat, standing on its hind legs, begin to walk towards him. He screams, and bolts out of the living room, onto the patio, and upstairs to the bedrooms, yelling for my aunt to let him in. She does, and he falls to the ground praying. He got scared so bad he pissed himself, and they stayed up until sunrise with a Bible and a prayer card in hand.